If you guys want me to talk about KOF 14, which is an amazing... I'm so happy. I'm going to be playing KOF 14 a bunch. If you want me to talk about that, I can, but... Long story short, if your issue with 13 was the speed of the game, it's been slowed down a little, and if another one of your issues was the HD combo system, you can no longer cancel specials into each other in 14. You get a different benefit for a similar meter, but you can no longer cancel specials into each other, so a lot of the major execution requirements are addressed there. You still had to do double half circles, but the other requirements are gone now. Oh, jump hard kick, jump around to the other side, nice confirm. Meaty, overhead, ooh, nice block. Too far. Well, I can just take a second here. Paul, King of Fighters is like Street Fighter, but faster. That's the basics. That's the very, very basic, okay? There's much more to it than that. But if you're both on the ground, you can technically play footsies. But what is distinct about KOF is that it is the closest analogy I can draw, and the way you want to think of KOF is King of Fighters is like Tekken in 2 dimensions. Here's what I mean by that. If you've played Tekken, you realize that the game is about highs, mids, and lows, knowing your punishes and making sure you don't drop them, and understanding that many characters can play very, very, very similarly, but there are small differences in their moveset that separate them. As an example, lots of characters can do a juggle in Tekken with down forward 2, but Paul's down forward 2 is different than Leo's down forward 2. That's a slight difference there. So what they can punish with is a little different. Paul has these mids, Leo has those mids. Paul has this low, Leo has that low. They can play the same mix-ups. The way you go about playing Tekken is more or less the same with each character. You don't learn a character in Tekken and then go learn another character and suddenly you're playing a different game. No. How Tekken works is you learn the system. You learn, okay, if they're standing, I can go low, or I can throw them and see if they can break that. If they're crouching, I can hit them with a mid. If I hit them, I'm probably plus on hit and can continue my pressure. That's how Tekken works. You learn the system, and then you learn, oh, if I pick a Mishima, I have this kick-ass high that's plus on block that pushes away. Still a high, but it's kick-ass. Whereas if I pick Leo, I have this up forward 3, which is a knockdown and a wall splat on a super fast mid. Whereas if I pick Paul, I have a super fast low that can lead into full wall splat full damage. Or I have the access to Death Fist. Or I can pick Devil Jin, and I have access to this command grab into this setup, you know. So you have the differences between the characters, but they matter less over the grand scheme of things than being good at the game. Okay? If you play someone who's good at Tekken, it doesn't matter what character you pick. If you're not good at Tekken, you're going to lose. Because they're better at the system. They're better at understanding what's going on. They could pick random and beat you. And it's not because they know every character. It's because they know how to play Tekken. Tekken is like this. Virtua Fighter is like this. And King of Fighters is the 2D fighting game that is like it. Okay? That King of Fighters is the 2D version of that game where your character choice matters a lot less than your ability to actually play the game. The big thing that makes KOF distinct is there's no forward dash, there is a run. At any point during the run, you can attack with anything you want. You can also jump out of the run. King of Fighters 14 has guard cancels. If you're blocking, you can spend a bar to roll away safely. That is completely safe and they cannot punish the end of it. Or you can spend a bar to attack them and blow them away. But that's not guaranteed to land, and on block is going to be a full punish. Things like that. Everyone in the game has access to hit Invincibility on frame 1 on their wake up with the evasive roll, light punch, light kick. You might know it from CVS 2, but that can be thrown on the first frame. Knockdowns in KOF, you generally have a lot of normal throw protection, somewhere on the order of 5 to 10 frames. This means that if someone wakes up and then you throw them, it's because they chose to block for a long time, not because they're throwable and hittable at about the same time, because they're not. So when people start Realizing, oh, I can't block on Wake Up, that's when meaty attacks start to work again. Throw Invincibility on Wake Up is like Super Turbo. And then the big thing, the really big thing, is that there are jumps. There are 4 jumps. You can jump forward, just like Street Fighter. You can super jump, just like Marvel. You can hop. Just tap up forward, go to neutral. Or tap up, go to neutral. Tap up back. It needs to be quick. If you're holding the direction for too long, you get a full jump. You can also hyper hop. There's lots of different words for it, but it's basically a super short jump. Hit down and then hop. There's more information basically about what's going on, but the key distinction between KOF and Street Fighter is the speed. Because everyone can super jump and hop and hyper hop, every single character can... Imagine, Paul, think of it this way. Think of Ryu's jumping hard kick. Imagine if from neutral I could go whoosh, and make you block it in that amount of time. You just blocked a hard kick, and now I can force you into a mix-up. Imagine if everyone in the game could do that. And imagine if some of those characters have Nash-style fireballs, and other characters have Ryu-style fireballs. Imagine if every character in the game can force you into a mix-up Marvel style off of any amount of block stun. Then, imagine a game where the amount of reaction time you need to anti-air a hop on reaction is probably twice as fast or twice as difficult as a normal jump in Street Fighter. It makes hops very strong, but most characters have very, very simple preemptive tactics to stop hops. For most characters, if I just mash on light punch, you can't hop in. Then it becomes spacing. For a lot of characters, especially in KOF 98, you have like a standing light kick or a standing jab or a standing fierce. If you hit that button preemptively, they won't be able to hop. But if they full jump, they'll whoosh, go right over it, Street Fighter footsie style. But if you never do anything about hops and full jumps, then you're always moving backwards. Stage length is shorter in KOF than it is in Street Fighter. Ultimately, offense is very strong. Your ability to put someone into a mix-up and force them to guess is very strong. The damage is generally on the order of, if you spend a bar or two, you can get a third or half of their life, depending on what's going on. The way the combo systems worked in 13, and they're going to work in 14, is you can definitely do over half life if you actually have the reaction time go into the things. Well, go into the things. If you have the reaction time, you do the mix-ups, and you confirm properly. The distinction, like, I already said the distinction. Ultimately, it ends up being a game about who has better defense against the very, very strong offense. It's about, or if neither of you have good defense, whose offense is better. People tend to overstate the offensive aspect of KOF. It's possible for you to defend those hops. It's possible for you to defend those full jumps. But because you have 2 jumps to look for, if you try to react, you'll lose to the hop. Even if your reactions are so great, if your reactions are absolutely pitch perfect, and you can anti-air a hop and a full jump on reaction, they can still run at you. And if they run at you, they can go from full screen to in your face in about less than a second and a half. If you're at, say, round start range, I can go from round start to throw range in less than a second. And again, this is almost every character in the game. Now, run speeds vary by character. Hop heights, hop distance varies by character. This is one of those tiny things between characters, but like Tekken, your success in KOF is going to come from your ability of knowing the system. Your understanding of, he hops a lot, I can anti-air hops in this way. He jumps a lot, I can do this. He rolls a lot, I can option select this. He's blocking in the pressure, I'm going to use running throws. He blocks low too much, I'm going to double jump to C. KOF has so much going on in the system that 99% of people who had trouble with KOF 13 were not having trouble with their character. They're not having trouble necessarily with their execution. They're having trouble with the fact that they might have to make 3 decisions in a second because of the speed of the game. It should be said, KOF 14 will be a tiny bit slower than 13. KOF 14's execution will be a tiny bit easier than 13. These are things that the director of the game has addressed publicly and said, I want this to be a little easier. From what we've seen of the game, though, the speed, the style of the game, the way the systems work, the way throws work, rolls, guard cancels, meter systems, it's still KOF. It's like going from Street Fighter 4 to 5, except that's not really the case. 4 to 5 was a massive technical step down. 13 to 14 is maybe 1/4 or half a technical step down. But if you want to learn more, there's plenty of KOF vids I can link to you. I'm just going to, continue going back to Street Fighter at this point, Paul. But you have to make multiple decisions in a second if your opponent knows what's going on. Every character has 5, 6, 7 decisions they could make in neutral at any time. This is not based on your character choice. This is just based on the neutral of the game and how it works. Your ability to do damage and mix someone up is not limited by your character, and there's basically no grapplers in KOF. The reason I say that is usually half the cast has command grabs. Basically half the cast. Some of them start in 1 frame, making them reversals against meaties. Some of them don't start in 1 frame, but but usually they are fully invincible on startup, or things like that. Command grabs are things that they give to people, like fireballs. Command grabs are things they give to people, like uppercuts. Yuri Sakazaki is this skinny little 17, 18-year-old girl in the story, hasn't aged in 14 years, but she has a 1-frame command grab in KOF 13. So, Clark's a grappler. Goro's a grappler. They have 1-frame command grabs. Well, so does Vice. So does Yuri. So does, so does Ash if he spends 3 bars. Command grabs there's no grapplers in KOF. There's just characters that can go fast. The other big thing is you can combo into command grabs. Imagine if Zangief could just jab, jab, pile drive by confirming the jab. That's what Clark can do. That's what Yuri can do. That's what other characters like that can do. So any hit you get, you're going to get a conversion of some kind. Doesn't matter if you have a command grab or not. Command grabs do not define a character in KOF. They're just another aspect. Good jump from Gamer B.